Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spaces with Josie. I'm your host, Josie, the redheaded libertarian. My guest today is An0maly. Welcome, An0maly.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent.
Great. Thank you for being here with me today. Now, as always, if you can't hear us at any point, go ahead, leave the space, come on back in. If you have trouble just in general hearing the space, it's going to be a video on Rumble up tomorrow and across all streaming platforms, so you'll be able to listen live with great, excellent sound quality. So, yeah. So, who are you and what do you do?
I am a news analyst, a hip hop artist, and I would say that's what I'm best known for is I call it news analysis, but I won't discriminate against anybody who uses another word. Just don't say influencer because that's kind of cringe. But yeah, I rap and then I try to break down current events.
I hate that word influencer. People are like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a media personality. I do outside media work for Timcast. So yeah, I agree with that. When I think of influencing, I think of like start my day with me when I do my hair and I talk about makeup. I That's what I think of when I think of influencing. So how did you get into the sphere? Did you start rapping and then get into the political fold of it all, or did you start with politics and get into rapping?
I started rapping. I was really early on YouTube, not the earliest, but like 2008, I would say. I just saw it as a platform to get myself out there. I was from a town where nobody cared. I wasn't from like a city or anything. So I saw some rappers just freestyling from their cars on YouTube and I thought to myself, "Oh, that's a good way to like get myself out there to record labels, etc." So
Mhm.
I went to West Virginia University. I was 19 and I started uploading content. I actually won a contest of these guys, Wax and Herbal Tea. They're like twin rappers,
Mhm.
and that kind of built me my first audience. And within a couple years, I had like 1 million views, like 100,000 song downloads, and I started having like record label meetings by the time I was 21, 22. And one of the reasons was because Jam Master Jay's sons, Jam Master Jay's from Run DMC, the DJ,
Yeah.
and his sons were like big fans of mine. So they started taking me to labels and trying to get me like a record deal. So I started that way. And then 2016, I started talking about politics. It's just something about Bernie Sanders versus Hillary and Trump. It got exciting, you know,
Mhm.
and I felt like I might as well start saying something.
What side were you on with that?
I was on Bernie versus Hillary.
Mhm.
I didn't. Some people are really into politics. I was not, but I didn't understand left versus right. I didn't understand health insurance. So I actually, the first person I really liked was Ron Paul.
Mhm.
I had no idea he was a libertarian or a Christian, or to be honest, I didn't know he was a Republican. I just saw him and I could just tell he seemed authentic and like everyone hated him because he was so real.
Mhm.
And then when Bernie came around, I didn't even think about like liberalism or progressivism. He just kind of got me with his talking points. Like, we're going to start a political revolution and, you know, the establishment on both sides is corrupt. And I was like, yeah, that's true. So I kind of was going for him against Hillary. Once he lost and was like super fake and cringe, I was like, ew, Bernie's kind of a loser.
Mhm.
Um, and I didn't like Trump for a little bit, but I want to say, like, by the time he was getting inaugurated, I remember thinking, like, I hope they don't kill him because he seems like he's real. Like, he's talking about conspiracy theories and stuff. So I was more into conspiracy theories growing up. And then I don't think I became like right leaning or formed a political philosophy until I was like 27, 28.
I with Bernie Sanders, he was always a socialist to me. I understood that and I knew that. I saw him get the Ron Paul treatment where
Mm,
he kind of got media blacked out as much as they could, and then the whole issue with the DNC happened, and they took the nomination from him. He was going to have, and they handed it to Hillary. And I was like, "Gosh, maybe this is going to wake up some Democrats. Maybe they're going
yeah,
to wake them up." And some of them did. Some of them were like, "Okay, this," like they were disillusioned after that.
right.
um and that's great. That's good when something like that happens. But I'm just grateful that the Ron Paul revolution happened when it did, and that's how I kind of got into politics myself. And it's interesting that you sort of have that overlap, and you knew it without the parties. You knew it just because of who he was and what his ideas were. What do you think drew you to Bernie Sanders? Was it just that he was saying interesting things that nobody else was saying, kind of going against the grain?
Yeah, and I think I'm a case study too for like a low information voter. And I don't even know that I voted before 2016. I want to say I didn't. Like maybe I voted in one election, but I was your typical low information voter where I was obsessed with hip hop. So I knew everything about Jay-Z, Kanye. Like I could tell you everything about the hip hop world, but with the politic world, all I really knew were like little sound bites from like John Oliver or like Mitt Romney was corrupt. So with Obama, I always thought they were both puppets
Mhm.
and I just didn't care that much. I was like, Obama's cool, but I wasn't like change is gonna come. I was like, he's a cool puppet. You know, he plays basketball. I never cared that much. And with Ron Paul, I didn't even listen to his philosophy. Like I was one of those kind of low information, just going off of instinct and vibe. And I just felt like, you know, I was more into conspiracies than I was like liberal or conservatives. And I didn't pay attention in poli sci. So if you would have asked me when I was 24, what does liberal or conservative mean? I don't even know that I would have known, to be honest. Like I really just didn't care about politics. So I remember I had a rap line about Ron Paul in one of my songs a long time ago. I just said, like I said, I F with Ron Paul back when I used to curse more. I mess with him. You know, he's cool. But that's like the extent of it. So yeah,
Mhm.
it was a vibe thing. And with Bernie, it was definitely I knew how bad Hillary was, and I knew she was establishment. So him playing the outsider,
Mhm.
and like you said, one thing that was good with that too is you really learn the democratic system. And even though both parties are corrupt, the Democratic primary is worse because they have super delegates that just vote however. So like Bernie's doing well, and there's these unelected delegates voting and running up Hillary's score when nobody likes Hillary. And even on the right, like, you know, it's a little bit more fair, I guess. And then the last election, they just replaced Biden with Kamala unelected. So, you know, I guess growing up, I always thought that the Republicans were like old, rich, rude guys, that like young stereotype, which is still kind of true, but it's just like the Democrats are just like Malcolm X used to say, like they're the one who act like your friend, but they're actually worse, and it makes it trickier. So I definitely learned a lot paying attention to how Bernie was treated and just like also how he kind of caved as well. He's kind of
Oh yeah.
soft guy.
Yeah, he is. As soon as things get scary or when his vote counts, he's going to cave. He's able to be principled until his vote matters, and then he's no longer like that. He'll fold in on himself like a cheap tent. So you came out with a new song, and I actually have it queued up here. I really like the way. So this song is called "The Luck of the Irish." So do you have any story behind that song, or what inspired you to write this?
The beat was played for me. My friend produces songs and he was
Hmm.
just playing some of the beats and he played that one and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this beat is so good." And it's so Irish, so that like that's really the inspiration behind it. I was like, if I rap on this beat, which I wanted to because it was so cool, I was like, how could you not make some sort of Irish references in the song somewhere? So I decided to kind of curate the whole song around just the beat.
I loved you putting rap on top of this. And I'm just going to play a little bit the opening for you guys so you can hear it. But it's so cool the juxtaposition of it's like Irish music but with like a modern like rap beat over it, and I just thought it was so cool. So I've got it queued up. Just make sure it goes the there we go. Oh, it shut off. Sorry.
All good.
Start that again. Sorry guys. I have fat fingers. Now I don't want to play too much of it, but is there a place people can find your work? Or I think that was cool. If you guys have any feedback, you want to drop it in the comments, go ahead, do that for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Spotify, Apple Music, just anywhere to stream. It's just An0maly. The O's a zero, but
Mhm.
I got all sorts of stuff. I got newer songs. Obviously, you could stream them, add them to your playlist, and then if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, and that's the funny thing with like when you kind of pop out of nowhere, or like you have a story of like, oh, you used to like Bernie or whatever. I've been recording myself since I was 19 years old, so like my entire history and thought process is out there. I have probably like 15 rap videos a year from every time I from 19 till 35. So my bigger
your
songs are on
evolution.
Spotify and stuff. What's
You
that?
can see your evolution.
Oh yeah, I posted my first video on my Instagram recently because I had a bowl like Beatles haircut, and it was my first ever. Like I picked up the webcam and I was like, hey, subscribe, and then I dropped like a sick rap, and then I was like, send me money, I'm broke. Like I was just messing around. I didn't really
Mhm.
want them to send me money, but it's funny like watching that, and people are like, oh my god, I can't believe you look like that. Like your hair's crazy. I was
Mhm.
like. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I've been uploading literally every year 2008 till now. That's almost 20 years. That's scary.
Wow, that's wild. I've only been uploading since like maybe 2022, and I think I deleted most of my videos when I got with Timcast and just started fresh. So it's really cool that you kind of have an anthology of all of your history of your work and being able to see how you've grown and developed and how your views have changed and all of that. It's really cool that you have a catalog like that. Not a lot of people do.
Well, congrats on only starting in 2022. You've accomplished a lot in a short period of time.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that. So, if anybody has any questions for An0maly, you can go ahead and request to be a speaker down there at the bottom. I'm happy to make you one. Um, Otherwise, we can talk a little bit about just the recent events. So, the two big things that sort of happened was yesterday there was pretty much a white kid got racially profiled because he was carrying an umbrella, and everybody thought that he was a school shooter because he was walking. Just this kid was just walking. Like I mean, he was just going for like having a time of his life, just walking down, a pathway with an umbrella, and all of a sudden everyone's calling him in as a school shooter. So that was interesting. And then I guess there was another. I don't know whatever came of it, but University of Arkansas had an alleged school shooting again today. So I don't know if that was a false flag too. I didn't hear anything after hearing the announcement from Arkansas. Not sure what's going on with that. But what was interesting is Nancy Mace. She's running for governor of South Carolina, and this first school shooting, this non-school shooting, uh, it happened in Columbia, South Carolina, the Columbia University in South Carolina, and she really jumped on it and was sharing pictures of the boy and just it was like really jumping the gun and
But it wasn't real, you're saying.
it
So
wasn't
she's sharing
real.
all these pictures, but he wasn't a shooter.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
some kid. I mean, that kid might clean up better than Nick Sandman with the Native American, the Kentucky Covington school kid. He cleaned up a lot
Yeah.
because he was misrepresented like that. I can't imagine like having your face plastered everywhere as a school shooter and you had an umbrella. I mean, it's really irresponsible.
I didn't see that, but Nancy Mace is an idiot. Like, I always say, like, her Twitter feed makes me want to unregister as a Republican. I'm a registered Republican, and it's like, she's just so annoying. She's so annoying. Everything's about herself. She's dumb. She's taking lobbying money. She's just such a moron. And then, like, a lot of these Republicans, too, they like to, like pretend like they're not racist or something. I'm not saying they are racist. Like that's not what I'm saying. But like look at that guy. They try to play that game just to try to get like these like left points. Where, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't see what happened. But if you're jumping on a picture with no evidence, especially if you're like a Congress
Running for
person like she
governor.
is now,
Hmm.
yeah. But isn't she in Congress currently
Yeah,
as
she's
well?
currently in a representative and running for South Carolina governor and just jumped on something. It was so I couldn't believe it. I've seen her work. I don't not like Nancy Mace. Um, I follow her. I think she follows me. Um, I was just
If you're listening, Nancy
stunned.
Mace, you're awesome. You're
Yeah,
awesome.
don't want to get in trouble with the government. No, but I was really stunned by that. I like her when it comes to how she fights for against trans trans identifying males and women's spaces, and I appreciate that. That's something that's close to my heart too. But she'll take something and really capitalize on it, and it might not be something she really believes in. The thing that gets me with her platform, she always talks about being the first woman to graduate from the Citadel and then talks about how she protects women's spaces. And it seems like that was kind of a male space that she
Right.
got into. So I'm not sure why she uses that line as much as she does, but I really respect her work that she does, exposing the trans issues. I just think this was really out of her league. I don't know this governorship thing. I I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm sure I would like her if I had a drink with her or something, but as far as like, I think she wants to be an influencer and she just definitely likes to talk a lot. But, there's a phenomenon going on online. It's not just like for her, I don't think it's financial where it's like, maybe she just likes the attention or something. But with a lot of people, everybody wants to be first, everybody wants to be quick. And all the social media platforms are basically incentivizing that. Like Facebook pays you to post. Instagram is now incentivizing picture posts instead of videos. Where with my Instagram, I don't want to post pictures and news all day. Like I just feel like it's not right for Instagram. But I'd make way more money if I did. And it's like with Twitter too. Like people like to jump on stuff, and I think that like ever since people, and I'm not mad at it because creators need to make money, but ever since people kind of got paid to post, there's been a lot of like breaking, everybody copy and pasting the same stuff.
Yeah.
And I've seen a few news stories just go crazy viral because everyone wants to post it, and it's not always real. So that one I took my algorithm like didn't even show me. So
Wow.
I'm glad, but I'm sure if I saw it, I would have thought twice before like pushing something I didn't know was true.
Yeah. No, you're really over the mark about influencers and sort of that culture, especially with the change to the X algorithm. And I believe people get paid on other platforms too. I don't know. This is the only one I'm on. Really, I have an Instagram. I really don't promote it or anything. My Instagram is mostly just fun. Like it's if I go on a trip or something, I'll post pictures of the trip. It's my cats, it's pies, it's just my interests, over there, and it might have like maybe 5,000 followers or something. It's not anything I push at all. And I I do see a lot of these government officials that are more interested, like Jasmine Crockett, for instance, AOC, definitely seem more interested in getting attention and doing viral dances and things like that. And it's almost like, you are a puppet and we know you're a puppet, but you're really just like leaning into showing us how much you actually don't work and how much you're more interested in this. So I think that you're really over the mark with noticing that.
Well, even like the White House too, they're getting like a little edgier with it. Like Gavin Newsom has some good interns, and everyone was like making fun of them, like, "Oh, look what they look like." Regardless of what they look like they're doing a good job for Gavin. So I think it's like when you miss the mark, it's cringe and you just look stupid. But left and right, all politicians are figuring out like if we want to appeal to the youth, we need to do what they're doing. So like AOC will do like a little like girl boss TikTok dance. The White House will be like, "Go home now," or like, "ET, go home. We're deporting you." I'm like, wait, to another planet, or where are these people going? But everyone's trying to be funny, and like sometimes it is funny, but when it misses the mark and it's like the official White House or Jasmine
It's
Crockett,
just
then it's just
cringe.
like super cringe. But I get it. Like they're all trying to some extent, but it's weird when your government's acting like a Lindsay Lohan Mean Girls account. There's something weird about it for sure.
It is definitely strange that we're in this element where it's not as professional as it is like clickbaity almost.
Yeah, and like also it's one of those paradoxes where it's like when everything was like suit and tie and button down, it was all fake anyway.
Mhm.
So it's like now is it better that it's not as buttoned down? And like back when they were censoring more and everything had to be fact checked, it was bad because it was just the mainstream media. But now as somebody that's benefiting from them easing off of it, like I'm doing better because they're finally like not censoring me as much on like Facebook and stuff. But I'm not going to lie, like there are a lot of accounts that are pushing misinformation. I'll give you one example. God bless his soul, but David Harris Jr. yesterday posted happy 79th birthday Sylvester Stallone with an AI picture of him in a hospital bed. And everyone's like, "Why is he in a hospital bed?" It's an AI picture, but also Sylvester Stallone's birthday was in July. So like he's a month and a half off, but he probably just saw another page posting an AI picture of Sylvester Stallone and is like, "Oh, I'll get paid if I post that." But he's not even fact checking to see when his birthday is. So it's one of those things where it's like I'm glad the fact checkers are gone because the fact checkers were the establishment. They were big pharma. They were lying. But now that you have no fact checking, it's like Facebook is a bunch of like AI slop. It's like Sean Hannity just rescued baby twins from a burning building, and like people over 70 are like, "Congrats, Sean!" And I'm like, "It's not real." So it's like there's pros and cons to both. But I'll take the no fact checking like AI slop over being locked in my house and them saying I can't like say that masks are annoying.
Yeah.
That was way worse. So, but we all gotta be honest about it. It's not like everything's true now. There's a lot of misinformation, quote unquote, coming from all sides. But I do think it's funny that legacy media and the government, like nobody cares what they're saying anymore. So it's like, hey, they're like, yeah, it's misinformation, it's racist. And everyone's like, yeah, shut up. So it's like it's definitely karma for them, which is pretty funny.
I think Community Notes gets it right a lot of the time. And the thing is, Community Notes is infiltrated. They do target certain accounts just to tweak the words a little bit and just go against their credibility and that sort of thing. But I think maybe 90% of the time they do get it pretty right. But then that other 10% of the time is deep state influence that's in there, that's like, oh, we got to squash this story, so you can have freedom until we stop your freedom is essentially what we're still up against. And it's better now with the Community Notes. It's better now since Elon bought X, but it's not perfect, and we do still see that we are free within a vacuum.
Elon did a lot of good stuff for sure. I mean, honestly, I give him almost more credit for Trump in the fight for free speech, because I feel like him buying X, letting people back, changing business models. He basically, like, the competition made Facebook ease off of like people. Like Facebook's pretty good now, but I don't think they would have been good if Elon didn't buy X and do that. So, I mean, he definitely deserves credit. And Community Notes is by far better than any other website's attempt at fact checking.
Absolutely. We got a couple of questions in the audience. Let me bring them up. Break the Chains Media, are you there?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear him?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Fantastic. Get you guys.
Hey, do you think it's fair to call somebody who threw a fucking sandwich at a Fed deep state when Donald Trump isn't doing anything about releasing the Epstein files?
We're gonna get to you in just 1 second. That's a really great question. We're just gonna get this question first. Thank you, Mask. All right, Break the Chains. What's up?
Oh, hi. Yeah, no, I think it's half a question, half a comment on your conversation regarding the media and AI slop and the postings and trying to be the quote unquote influencers. I hate that too. I call myself a media personality myself, but it is responsible for us and everyone bringing out this type of information. When Elon Musk says we are the media, we have to take that very seriously in a way that if we don't want to have disinformation, misinformation, whatever leftist trope that they use, we have to be responsible by making sure whatever we post is fact checked and backed up by sources, so that way we can be credible in these conversations that we have. So I appreciate what you do, Josie, and what you do, An0maly. And in that respect, how do we, as these media influencers, keep on the bleeding edge of what needs to be told to the public and not get caught up in the dangling, the flashy, soap opera daily news story that is, the flag burning conversation or whatever else have you. I mean, I feel like these are all, for lack of better terms, clickbait, or like, they're putting chum in the water for people to just infight online. How do we cut through that, cut through the static and actually project a proper signal into the information that people want to, that we need to address to the public, i.e. like local politics, local governance, talking about special sessions. I'm in Colorado, so I'm trying to really hammer home like the special session that's happening right now and the fiscal irresponsibility. That's what I do on my channel. But how do we make sure that people get the right information,
Mm-hmm. Do you want to answer that, An0maly?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, thank you for the compliments and stuff. It sounds like you're doing a good job, because at the end of the day, like if you live in Colorado and you're covering that stuff, that's, you're being the change you want to see. You're doing the things that you want to see. So that's super dope. And as far as not falling for things that you consider traps, I think all you can do is, on a personal level, is do your best and hope that as many people do their best, and do what you can. But I've tried to be more patient. I think when I first started, you have that, like, I wish everybody figured this out now. But I do feel like now that I could scale from 2016 till now, things in 2019 that I was so annoyed nobody understood, now it seems like it's pretty common. And even if you go to like Trump's comments, people are like, and they're like, FBI's like, we did this, and people are like, yeah, cool, but where's the Epstein files? So I do feel like people are way smarter than they were like 4 years ago, and there seems to be like a legion of accounts that are not letting certain topics go. So I do see the improvement for sure.
Definitely. My advice would be to mute all those accounts that seem to repeat each other, because that's what they are. They're echo accounts. They're echolalic, and but they make everything just less. They it really makes you feel like the internet's kind of dead, and it probably is to an extent. But I would just mute those accounts that are really repetitive. And I give the advice that I give my daughter, who is my oldest daughter. She is an athlete, and she races, and she has to be first and has to be best and all of that. And growing up, she would do that with her schoolwork and stuff. So I would say your fastest work is not always your best work. And I use that as an influencer. I hate that term, but if that's what I'm going to be, then I need to be responsible. And I don't have to be the first to break news. I have to break accurate news. So what people do, what the media does, and what influencers do, they'll break a story and it'll be sloppy and clumsy, and then they might issue a retraction or a correction in the dead of night, and when nobody sees it or nobody cares. And that's just irresponsible journalism. And we can't be perfect. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes, and been quick or quick to the punch or not 100% accurate, but I try as hard as I can to be accurate for you guys, and to give you the news as quick as I can, but as accurate as I can. So kind of wait for those stories, and look for people who are a little more patient, who aren't looking to get the first, but the ones that are reliable and correct.
Yeah, I totally agree with all that, and I do the same thing. I think there are some issues that we all are agreeing in they're passion projects, like whether it's the Epstein files or whether it's government accountability or end the Fed. These things are kind of timeless. They're evergreen as it were. But we have to remain vigilant on the things we can change, and make sure people that are unaware get aware to the things that need to be focused on first. And that's kind of where I do with my channel. So if anyone's in Colorado, like I do all the Colorado stuff, but I stay in touch with all the national news as well. So I appreciate all you guys do, and keep fighting for freedom and never give up.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
All right. If anybody else has a question, go ahead and request to be a speaker down there at the bottom. Mask, go ahead and mute yourself.
Hey, I think he was talking about what I was talking about, the Epstein thing. I mean, the Pam Bondi wants to come out and say, look at us, we're doing something about the deep state. And she posts something about the dude who threw a fucking sandwich at the Fed. And it's like, okay, and where did the Epstein files go?
Yeah, it's a big distraction, but I like that there are still accounts that are really focused on bringing those to a head every day. They're talking about it. They're like, where are they? And they're breadcrumbing us with things like, oh, here's Ghislaine Maxwell's perfectly innocent interview, and it's like, well, you're gonna believe everything she said in that interview, then let her out of jail because she's innocent. Like you gotta pick one. You can't have an innocent woman sitting in jail, who's in jail for all of these crimes that you said she did, but she came out and said she didn't do them. She said she didn't do them, so you gotta really pick what you're gonna believe and what you're not gonna believe. But
and they're all trying to frame it, like from Pam Bondi to Ghislaine Maxwell. They're trying to frame it as like basically Jeffrey Epstein was this lone wolf, and the way Pam was talking about him was saying like his computer was filled with what, and like and that kind of, to me, is like a narrative of like, okay, he's one sick individual, but like there was no client list. It's setting up the stage of like, kind of like when there's an event that involved more than one person, but they say it was this lone wolf and no one knows who he was, and it's over now. Don't talk about it. So like with Jeffrey Epstein, I'm not gonna act like I know everything in the world, but clearly he had a lot of powerful friends. He was a billionaire. He was at everybody's wedding. Like it's like everybody kind of knows what he was doing, and he was doing way more than that. But that his trajectory doesn't even make sense either, because it's like he's got $1 billion, but like Trump has $1 billion, but he has a lot of properties. Other people have like technology companies. Like what was his business like? And if he was brokering deals, like how was he able to do so with his massive network, right? There's clearly a bigger part of the story, so I think that's their easy way to like sweep it to the side.
I don't
And
know.
I wouldn't be shocked if they pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, because I think Trump, and his donors and his kind of like admin, they kind of run in the same circles. So I think they're going to try to throw Ghislaine Maxwell a bone at some point.
Isn't she a Mossad agent?
People think so, but I don't know.
Her
She
dad
said
was
she wasn't.
Mossad. Yeah, her dad.
Yeah, her
was.
dad was a Mossad agent, and I think Epstein bragged to somebody about being a Mossad agent too. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with the fact that Trump keeps giving Israel billions of our fucking dollars and weapons.
I don't.
I
It
think
runs real deep.
I think a lot of people wonder that, and I feel like, the more they don't talk about it and just call everybody anti-Semitic, it just kind of raises more suspicion. So, people speculate, but you can find articles where I think his brother said something along the likes of that. But, for me, it's just like they won't talk about that, but then they send more money. They won't, even like you were talking about with the guy throwing a sandwich and he's like a terrorist now. I'm sure you've seen this as well. It's like anybody that's an ally of America, they won't call a terrorist, whether they blow up a hospital, blow up children. So it's like that word is basically at the behest of whoever gets the power to dictate who is and who isn't, where it's like, yeah, throwing a sandwich is not the smartest thing to do. It's definitely going to get you arrested, but it's not as bad as blowing up a hospital on live TV with journalists in it.
No, absolutely.
Raping kids with Mossad agents.
Blowing up a hospital. Yeah, there's a lot of bad things that happen and have been happening, but whoever is the enemy depends on whoever is there to write the history presently, whoever is controlling the country right now. And right now, it's very pro-Israel. So we'll just see how the next 4 years go. There's a lot I'm concerned about, particularly with this flag stuff. It feels to me just so essentially what happened with the flag burning EO. He made an executive order of things that already exist. So he said, well, you can't incite violence or, you're going to go to jail for a year. Okay. So he made a general rule about going to jail for a year if you incite violence. Now, it's always been illegal to incite violence, even if you were burning a flag to incite violence. If you walked into a VFW, stole their flag and set it on fire, you'd be inciting violence. You'd be stealing property. There's things that aren't protected speech that happen there. So essentially what he's doing is he is testing the parameters of the Brandenburg test, which is the test for what constitutes incitement within free speech and free expression. And right now it needs imminence. That's like the big thing that separates it. So if I were to like say, okay, An0maly, I'm going to fight you, we're going to get into a fight. See, I'm not inciting anything. But if I'm like, meet me at this place, this time in front of, and bring this stuff, then I am inciting violence. There's a level of imminence. So what it feels like is he is kind of expanding this for if we were ever to have, say, another summer of love, if we were ever to have another time where riots were taking over the country again and they needed a quick way to stop them, this would be a way to do it. If there is there was a flag burning in the middle of this, nope, can't have that anymore. So it's a way to test those limits is what it feels like to me, because why else would you issue an executive order for laws that already exist?
Yeah, he does a lot of that, and I think this is the problem with the left-right thing is like the left's always freaking out, the right's defending Trump a lot, and then there's no actual real like conservative scrutiny of him. I'm sure libertarians do a better job of that, but like he did that with free speech too. Like you have the First Amendment in America, and even though they're passing these IHRA anti-Semitism rules, they don't really apply. Like they're in the states, but it's like they can't just arrest you for it, and it's like they're just trying to figure out a way. Like we can't arrest you for speech, but we can cut the funding or take the money or say that you're hateful towards the kid. Like they're doing everything they can to work around the First Amendment. So with the deportations, it's the same thing. They're like, we can't arrest you if you're a citizen, but you don't have the First Amendment now to speak about Israel if you're a non-citizen in America. what else can you deport them for? I guess anything now, but that's really kind of unprecedented at this point. And same with the incoming, he kind of rigged the incoming visa process and said, we're going to scan your social media for anti-Semitism. Here's my issue with it is, one, the government definition of anti-Semitism, it's the IHRA one. I'm very familiar with it. Ron Paul would be deemed an anti-Semite. Tucker Carlson would be deemed an anti-Semite. And these people would not be allowed to become U.S. citizens. So the same thing with the flag. It's like there's these weird workarounds of the First Amendment that he just like really likes to do. And I guess I don't really, there's so many issues in this country right now. It doesn't feel like a really strong priority. Like if I felt like America was this strong, amazing nation that was crushing, then it's like, all right, make the flag burning illegal, I guess. We're like national patriots or whatever. But it's like that's like a bone he's throwing while a lot of other stuff is going awry. So I don't like that he tries to work around that stuff, because I don't trust Trump personally, and I feel like I see the trajectory of where he's going. DeSantis did something like that for anti-Semitism in Florida too. They made a littering like a felony or a high degree charge. So it's like if I left a "you should be a Democrat" flyer, it's fine. But if I left like a one that they deemed anti-Semitic, like you could be charged in a court for a flyer, because it's like, well, now it's not speech, it's a flyer. But every other flyer is fine, just not that flyer. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'll just say this. I know I'm rambling a little bit, but Republicans always say there's no such thing as hate speech. And when it comes to black or Mexican or women, they say, listen, hate, like trying to say everything's hate speech just creates more hate, and speech laws and speech policing doesn't work. Not only is it unconstitutional, but it's actually counterproductive. They understand that with every topic, the GOP, except for one, and they do this stuff, and it just makes the opposition stronger and louder. And then when it's stronger and louder, they just keep doing it. It's like they do the same thing that the left does with other topics, and it's I don't know. With the flag burning, it's like I don't know where it's going, but I don't trust it, and I don't feel the pro-America angle to it, considering all the other stuff he's doing.
Yeah, I think the flag burning is going toward, as I said, expanding the Brandenburg test to make it so that riots, like what constitutes incitement now, and it's going to have a wider definition, and they're going to be able to shut down a lot of protests. Now, the thing about speech and having to protect the ugliest speech, the speech you really don't agree with, like I would never burn a flag. I would never burn the American flag. I love the American flag. I would never do that. I need to protect that. It's the ugliest, it's some of the ugliest speech, but I need to protect it, because if I don't protect it, then the scope of what is acceptable speech goes down if we only protect what's popular. So that's very important. We have another question.
Just real quick, I just want to like, if the left riots, isn't the rioting enough of a law break? Like, to me, it's a weird excuse to be like, we need this to shut down a riot. You should be able to shut it down anyway. Like if they break the law, they break the law. You don't need an extra.
But it's federal versus state. So a lot of these states.
I got you.
Yeah, a lot of
now they could come in. That's interesting.
It gives them in. Yeah. So a lot of these states that they allow it. Like we saw Tim Walz, he let a state burn down in 2020. Let me see.
So that would be able to let Trump come in on the protest, since they don't.
Yeah, I mean, it'd still be
It's definitely interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be more of a battle. Twiddle, go ahead and mute yourself.
Hey, thank you for the mic. It's a pleasure to even be up here speaking with two people that I've been following for a long time. An0maly, especially. It's like 10 years, brother. Josie, I first saw you on Timcast, but I no longer watch Timcast.
Fair.
Yeah, that Chatham House meeting turned me away for forever.
Yeah.
I had a couple questions and just a statement on the flag burning thing. I do see it as another, well, not necessarily an overreach, but like you see a lot of it with the taking away of the money from these universities for the anti-Semitic stuff, and then the protest for that, whether it be pro-Palestine protest or what have you. But burning the flag and desecrating the flag in any manner was illegal all the way up until like 1989. Mm-hmm. And then the first court case came out. It was Texas v. Johnson. Then the Supreme Court ruled it was 5-4. The flag burning is a form of symbolic speech, and it was protected under the First Amendment. And this basically struck down like all the laws in all 48 states that criminalized it. So
it was also kind of like they brought it back in like 1990, trying to appeal the decision, but it was reaffirmed, and that was U.S. v. Eichmann, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So this thing though, I wouldn't. I mean, don't desecrate the flag. If it touches the ground, I've been taught all my life. You gotta take it to the VA. You gotta take it to someone else and dispose of it. So I mean, it's just tough. It's tough seeing all this stuff, but I do appreciate you guys giving me this space. And I wrote down my second question, but I kind of don't want to actually talk on it now.
Oh, you can. You're welcome to, unless you're not comfortable, then of course.
No, I just it would be a rambling thing. I just wanted to say, no, I appreciate both you guys for even giving me a mic. I just wanted to throw that out there. But about the flag burning thing, and I would the ADL changes definitions and adds new definitions every day. I mean, America First is now anti-Semitic. If you say that, I've seen countless congressmen tweet it out. I mean, all that stuff. It's coming to a head. I think the people are going to start talking about this a ton more, and I hope you guys do too. I've been watching you for a long time, but I know you guys are smart. I just wish you guys would see some of the bigger problems and speak on them more.
Which problems?
The complete control of our government. I don't know where to begin with that one. But we're
watch my channel. I talk about it weekly. Don't worry, I'm on it, my brother.
I definitely try to talk about it as much as I can. The deep state. I talk about the deep state pretty frequently. But if there's something in particular that you want me to research or anything, just let me know.
I mean, right now the big thing to me is this H-1B issue with all the visas. I mean, Trump came out earlier today. He's going to add, what was it, 600,000 more visa applicants
for Chinese
from China.
Students.
Yeah. None of this is America First to me, let alone not bringing out the Epstein files, but that's a whole other story. I mean, to me, the only person that's really America First and is standing up for ethnic Americans is Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she's literally the only one that I've heard utter the words that the ADL needs to, or is it? Yeah, not the ADL. APAC needs to register as a foreign agent.
Oh, they do.
The last
Thomas
two people
Massey
that did
as
that well. Thomas Massey's wife is now dead. And then there's tweets about that from a bunch of people saying, hey, you probably shouldn't have done that. Certain type of people. I got all that screenshotted and saved.
No. I know Thomas Massey. His wife has been sick for a long time.
Yeah, he said it was unrelated. I think on Theo's podcast.
He actually said he's like when people started talking about the fact that somebody could have killed my wife, he was like, I was a little bit like hurt and offended, but then I was thinking she would find that hilarious. She would find that hilarious that people were saying things like that because she's been sick for pretty much her whole life. She's had yeah. So that's not, because there were people who said other really salacious things like that Thomas Massey could have something to do with the death of his wife, and it was like no, she's just been sick for a while, and I know with the timing, because that was my kind of initial, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my god, but I knew that she'd been sick as well.
Yeah, I just think things are coming to a head. I mean, I just really fear for like this. I live not too far from nation's capital, and seeing it, this kind of stuff. That's what I wrote down. So, like the National Guard, Trump's giving these states, all these like crazy states, these Democratic states, he's giving them chance after chance after chance. Even during his like first presidency, he said he was going to bring in the National Guard during like Summer of Love and all that stuff. I mean, and they're still refusing to do it and clean up their cities. So it's either, it's for remigration and rounding up people and really tackling crime, or it's going to be for the dissidents, and that's what a lot of people are talking about. Like, these Alligator Alcatraz and all these new detention centers popping up. Fort Bliss has one that's the biggest in the state, or biggest in the country, I think. There's another one getting built in northern Florida. It's there's a lot of fear out here, and I don't see anybody really talking about it. So I just I'll leave it there. I don't want to hog the mic. I appreciate both you guys for all your hard work over the years, and I'll keep listening. For some reason, I used to follow you. I don't know why I'm not following you, Josie, anymore. it's probably this app. But I'm going to give you another follow again. And yeah, I appreciate the mic. I'll drop down so someone else can speak.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah,
I've had
I just want to
those.
go off that a little bit. I like where your head's at because I feel like you're thinking about all sides. Like I find myself in the same space as you. One with like Marjorie and all that. I see the same exact thing. I appreciate what she's doing, but even with the flag burning and the federal stuff, like on one hand, Democrats, like the cities are a mess. Like the country's like, even in a lot of conservative areas, like the country's getting overrun, like, and crime is worse than people realize. And like, it's just not good. And Democrats are never going to fix it. So it's like, on one hand, I could see how, yeah, like just let Trump try to fix it. But the issue is just like everything you said, my guy, like I don't trust Trump. So it's like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, yeah, fix the cities with the federal government. Like that would be great if I trusted Trump as much as his supporters do right now. But like, I don't. So, and I see where his administration is going on other topics. And I just lived through COVID lockdowns and Operation Warp Speed stuff, and then 4 years of Biden. So it's like, it is a perplexing sort of thing to come together where it's like, I get why he's doing it, but I don't trust him. And I could see it turning at any point. And with the H-1B visa thing, like I think this is the one thing people don't get about Trump. He's cool, he's funny, but he's been rich forever. Like, does anybody think that Trump knows what the state of health insurance or car insurance is, or rent or inflation? Like his golden age is him whining and dining with Kid Rock, billionaires, Larry Ellison. Like that's been Trump's life since he was like 18 years old. He's been rich his entire life. So I don't hate Trump or anything. I get that he's like the better option, and I'm definitely not a liberal. I mean, I'm a registered Republican, but people like, I don't think Trump sees the problems of over immigration as much as everyone else, because his entire life is like a Mar-a-Lago party. So he doesn't care. Like he's striking deals with China. He'll strike a deal. Tyson Meat Factory comes to him and says, Trump, we need more illegals. Oh, okay, I got, he's really not that based. I feel like Trump is kind of like just so rich and so out of touch that he doesn't understand at all the complete like demographic shift in America and how that's changing everything. So,
well, I'd hate to butt back in, but that's just we're going to war with like Mexico basically. Like we got ships down in Venezuela right now. 500 plus people dead from fentanyl on the border. You got president of Mexico that's basically working with these cartels and has been. It's a narco politician. Like 38 people, presidential candidates had to die for that woman to become president in Mexico. And you have this constant influx over the last like 6-7 years, or shoot, probably even longer, especially during Biden's presidency, where we had millions of people come into our country, like millions. And National Guard roundup in every state to get it done. That's one thing, but like half these people, we don't even know where they're at. So, yes, they're concentrated in certain cities, yes, but like they were bussed into Tennessee, they were bussed into New York and just everywhere all around the country. Don't get me started on like the state of like Minnesota or all this takeover of our government and with these people that aren't Americans. I don't want to go down that road talking about that because it might rub some people the wrong way. It doesn't seem like the space for that. But in my bio, please visit ethnicamerican.org, ethnicamericanproject.org, and just kind of familiar yourself with what is an American. This is very important. And that's it. I'm gonna drop down. I gotta go take care of some things. But I appreciate the mic, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. So from a constitutional standpoint, the reason why we can't just bus in the National Guard and have them fix everything is because our founders organized our country to be a republic of states. So there's very specific instances where the federal government can infringe on states' rights. And the most common one that we hear about is national emergencies. When President Trump declared an emergency, the invasion at the border is an emergency. And by saying invasion at the border is an emergency, he was able to not only cue the national emergency federal authority that he has, but he was also able to look at Article 4, Section 4, which is the invasion clause, saying that it's the federal government's duty to protect the states from invasion. So he was able to call in the supremacy clause when it came to that. One that they sadly abuse to hurt us more than to help us is the Commerce Clause. So that's another way that the federal government infringes on the states' rights. Then there's obviously the enforcement of constitutional rights and federal funding conditions and judicial rulings. And then there's the necessary and proper clause too, which says, well, in order for us to carry out our enumerated powers, it's necessary and proper for us to infringe on this sort of thing, also general welfare and that sort of thing. But that's why we have a 10th Amendment, is so that it would have boundaries, so that these clauses would have boundaries. But President Trump is working in that regard when it comes to the border in particular to try to stop the invasion, because that's what it is. Whether or not it's violent, it is violent, but whether or not it's, you know, an armed invasion of soldiers versus what's happening now, it's an invasion nonetheless.
Right. And this is my issue, because like I get that he's trying to use his powers to fix issues, because at the end of the day, like, the Democrats are not going to. Once you lose my trust, you got to earn it back. And, you know, even with he has a mandate to deport illegals and to secure the border. He was voted for that. That's one of the main reasons. But then when he goes to deport non-violent, non-criminal, non-illegal college students because of an Israel op-ed, like now, and I hate to talk about it all the time, because like I don't talk about Ukraine more than Switzerland because I hate Ukrainians. It's just Ukraine is more central to who's sucking our money and starting wars right now. And it's the same with Israel. It's like, you know, he says he's doing these trade commerce policies for America, and then he's going to sabotage our trade deal with India and Canada based off of, you know, India, it's because of Russia and Ukraine. Canada, it's because of Israel. So it's like our foreign policy and our alliances are so strong, it's almost before America. And that's what Thomas Massey and Marjorie are trying to say. Like, America has to come first, or else you're just essentially like an unregistered foreign agent working on behalf of another country. I'm fine with alliances to some extent, but that's my issue with Trump. It's like, I get why you'd want to work around certain things in order to get this done, because there is an invasion. But are you doing it to deport illegals, or are you doing it to like gatekeep Israel? Like, you know, the incoming, like, we're gonna look on their social media for anti-Semitism. Why don't you look on their social media to see if they're like a gang member or if they're going to be good for our country or not? Like, why are you policing their Twitter account to see if they suck up to Israel enough for you to want them in the country? It's like, that's the annoying part about Trump. If he just stuck to biz, I get the constitutional, argument to do these things, because yeah, if there's 10 million people invading and the Democrats aren't going to do it, he's got to use national powers. But, you know, I just don't trust him, unfortunately. And he could always earn that back, but it doesn't look like him or his administration's in any rush to do it. But, you know, they're going to do a little bit of both sides. And I guess hopefully they just don't go too far.
Well, you had touched on something really key when you were talking about the protesters, the Israel protesters that are getting booted out of the country, the Palestinian protesters, or pro-Hamas, or however you want to, whatever they are. So what that is, that's an expansion of the Brandenburg test, what he was doing with that, because he was saying, okay, well, if you're handing out flyers, what do they have on them? A date and a time. That's incitement. You're inciting what's going to be a riot. Now, when it's me or you and we were to do something like that, we might get a fine or go to jail for a little bit of time or have to do community service or something. However, if you're here on a visa, it's totally different rules. You can get kicked out of the country. So
right, but even looking at like January 6th, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, like, they use similar stuff as that, where it's like, oh look, they were at a protest, but then they connected dots that weren't there in order to try to arrest people during January 6th under the same pretenses. You know,
I'm
maybe
agreeing.
you weren't on the Capitol steps, but you did do an event here, and then someone from your protest went to the Capitol steps. So now you're basically like a Rico kingpin, even though you're just like a boomer that likes Trump too much. You know,
I'm agreeing with you. So about the expansion of Brandon, like how they're doing it, and that's what he's doing with the flag now. It's the same exact thing that he did with speech, is expanding, like, how far can we make inciting a riot go? And you know what? If you take a flag and you burn it in the VFW, yeah, you're gonna incite a riot. If you burn it in front of like-minded people, you're not gonna incite a riot. But this is what he's taking it and he's expanding it, and that's what this executive order was all about. And we saw him do it already once with the protesters on the college campuses. So he is definitely pushing there for sure. We have to wrap because it's 8:00 and it's a Monday and everybody has to go over to IRL now. But thank you everybody for being here. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all the questions. If you do have a question, you can drop it down there in the comments and I can try to answer it later on tonight. An0maly, thank you so much for being here with me today. Where can people find you and help support your work?
Twitter at Legendary Energy, and on just Dream Rare on Instagram is fine. But I got a Facebook page too, An0maly. If you want to boomer out with me and the boomers on Facebook, we could get that cracking. My music at An0maly. So yeah, thanks for having me, and I appreciate. Yeah, I'm glad we finally got to kick it and talk.
Absolutely, me too. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, stay free, and I'll see you next time.